Week 11 of the 2025-26 NBA season is over, which means it's time to run it back. This is Run It Back, NBA Week in Review. I'm Jose Salviati, editor at thebeachbasket.net, and this is the show where we recap the week that was in the NBA by sharing the only objective NBA power rankings anywhere, the stats standouts, the best to do it by average in the week that was. Then we take a look at the viral news in the NBA in a segment we call Full Court Press. Finally, we highlight the marquee matchup for the week to come. So let's take a look at what happened in week 11 in the NBA. We start with the only objective overall top 10 NBA power rankings anywhere. You can read more about how we get to these rankings and see the entire list at thebeachbasket.net. Let's take a look at the top 10 at the conclusion of week number 11. We only had one team drop out of the top 10, and there was a lot of movement inside of the top 10 with the remaining 9, as you would expect. The Los Angeles Lakers had a 2-1 week and dropped out of the top 10. It cost them 2 spots. They dropped from number 10 to number 12. The number 10 team after week 11 are the Phoenix Suns. They dropped 1 spot from number 9 after a 2-1 week in week 11. The Minnesota Timberwolves also had a 2-1 week, and it cost them. That dropped them 1 spot from number 8 to number 9 in week 11. Now, the Miami Heat also had a 2-1 week, but they won some good games, including a win against Cleveland at Cleveland. That gives you a little bit more points in our objective rankings. So that moved them up despite only being 2-1, like Minnesota, like Phoenix, like the Lakers. That propelled them, Miami, from number 11 all the way up to number 8. The New York Knicks were 1-3. Not a great week for the Knickerbockers. They dropped from number 4, landing at number 7 after week 11. The Denver Nuggets, without Nikola Jokic for hopefully just a couple of weeks, were 1-2, but it didn't cost them. They stay at number 6. The Boston Celtics are suddenly really good. I'm surprised that Jaylen Brown has just been Superman for them, and it's good to see. They were 3-1 in week 11, which moved them up from number 7 to number 5 after week 11. The Houston Rockets were 2-1 in week 11, and that was enough to move them up 1 spot from number 5 to number 4. And the number 3 team, along with the number 2 team, along with the number 1 team, have not changed since week 6. The Spurs were 2-2 and coming at 3. The Detroit Pistons were 1-2, but it didn't cost them. They stayed at number 2. And the Oklahoma City Thunder were 4-0. Again, perfect after absolutely hitting a bump in the road, thanks to the San Antonio Spurs. The Thunder seemed to have righted the ship. They were 4-0 in week 11, and that's enough to land them again at the number 1 spot. That's the objective top 10 list for week number 11. If you want to see where all 30 teams land this week, please visit thebeachbasket.net. Now let's shift our focus to the players. These are the best to do it by average in week number 11 of the 2025-26 NBA season. These are the best by average in shooting, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, points, and game score. We start with the top scorer. That was Kawhi Leonard. He played 4 games in week number 11 and averaged 38.8, which includes a double nickel, 55 points for the Claw. He had a great week, and it propelled the Clippers to a nice winning streak up until the time that was snapped. But he was the NBA points leader for week 11. Now, the top sniper, the top player with 3-point shots made, there were 3 that averaged 5 3-point shots made, but only one of them played 4 games. That's Stephen Curry. No surprise there. Jaylen Brown, another guy who's been phenomenal this week. He dropped 50 on Kawhi's Clippers. Just yesterday, he averaged the most field goals made at 13 in his 4 games played. Now in rebounding, Scotty Barnes led the NBA with 14.3 total rebounds over his 4 games played. Nick Richards only played 1 game, but he made the most of it, pulling down 6 offensive boards to lead everyone. And Victor Wembanyama, who really doesn't show up in the rebounding category often. We see him more in block shot leads, but it's good to see him asserting that, let's call it power on the defensive end, pulling down defensive rebounds. He led everyone over his 2 games played with 11.5 defensive rebounds. The top assists man was Cade Cunningham. He played 3 games and averaged 10.3 assists to lead everyone. 2 players played 4 games and averaged 4 blocks. Chet Holmgren and Alex Sarr were the top rim protectors. And Ziaire Williams was the top steals guy, the top thief. He played 2 games and averaged 4 steals over those 2 games. The top game score for the best overall game in Week 11 was Kawhi Leonard over his 4 games played. He had a very good game score of 33.6. Now, let's take a look ahead at week number 12. The best matchup is definitely in the East, where the 2 top Eastern Conference teams will go head-to-head in Detroit. Will the Knicks get a big road win, or will the Pistons, who are only 2-3 over their last 5, so they've hit a bit of a bump, they assert their dominance in the East against their closest competitor? It's going to be a really, really good game. Now, we'll end our show with a segment we call Full Court Press. This is where I ask AI for its thoughts on viral trending NBA news as we head into week number 12. And this is what it came up with. Now, like it always does, it gives me a lot of good topics. But the one that intrigued me the most is LeBron turning 41. It is undeniably amazing to watch LeBron excel at 41. Hard stop. It's undeniably amazing. Watching LeBron do what he does is incredible. He recently posterized 7'1" Luke Cornett, for example. We've all seen older players, if you've been following the NBA for any amount of time, we've seen older players play the game before, but for the most part, they participate more than they dominate. Now, admittedly, LeBron's days of totally dominating the game are over, but he can still dominate in spurts. Just ask Luke Cornett. But I don't want to make this just an appreciation of LeBron segment. Instead, him turning 41 got me to thinking, who was the oldest player to ever play an NBA game? Now, I want you, if you're listening or watching this, don't look it up, all right? Just don't look it up. Bear with me for a little bit. And trust me when I say you don't know the answer, right? What we're going to do is we're going to start with LeBron. Would it surprise you that as of today, he is the 12th oldest person to ever play an NBA game? That means there are 11 people that were older than him. Now, casual NBA fans would know out of that 11, maybe I think 4, where hardcore fans would probably know 10. Remember, there's 11 above him. So it's an interesting list. Let's dive into it. At number 12 is LeBron. He's 25 days away from surpassing number 11. That is Charles Jones. Now, Jones last played for the Houston Rockets in 1998. He never averaged double digits in scoring, which is pretty amazing. He was known more for his shot blocking abilities, but he had a great career in the NBA. Number 10 is the all-time leader in assists and steals, an underrated, really good guard because he never, ever lifted the LOB. That's John Stockton. Herb Williams is number 9. He was a serviceable NBA center who played until he was 41 years and 129 days. Number 8 was NBA great Bob Cousy. The Celtic great is 97 years old today. Now, he played 7 games in 1970 for the Cincinnati Royals. Some people may not know this. They think of him as a Celtic, but he finished his career for the Royals. And this came after 6 years into retirement. He hadn't played for 6 years, and then he played 7 games for the Cincinnati Royals. Philip Rivers has got nothing on Bob Cousy. Number 7 is the first 42-year-old. In my opinion, the greatest of all time. That's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 6 is another big, not known for his scoring, but his defense. That's Dikembe Mutombo. Number 5 is a recent Miami Heat legend, Udonis Haslem. Now, Vince Carter, he played until he was 43 years and 45 days, landing him at number 4. Now, I got to see the number 3 player up close after a game. That is Robert Parrish. He had the broadest shoulders of any human being I've ever seen in my whole entire life. This was a big, big, big dude. He was number 3 on the list. Number 2 is Kevin Willis. He played for 8 teams and was a dependable hustler. Just a really, really good, solid player. Not a star, but a good player. He was 44 years old and 224 days when he hung him up. Now, that leaves us to number 1. Do you know who number 1 is? older than 44 years and 224-year-old Kevin Willis. This player, in fact, older than 44, not only played, he scored in an NBA game that he played. He was almost 46 years old. Officially, he was 45 years, 363 days when he laced them up for the Providence Steamrollers against the St. Louis Bombers. And then again, he played 2 games against the New York Knicks. Did you guess Nat Hickey? I don't believe you. She said you did. Hickey was coaching the Basketball Association of America, or BBA. This is the early iteration of the NBA. The NBA started as the BBA, so this is NBA history. He was coaching the Steamrollers when he felt he was the best option, so he checked himself in. He had 2 points on free throws against the Bombers in a loss, and then against the Knicks, another loss. He played the last 3.5 minutes and missed his only field goal attempt, but he did have 4 personal fouls. Coach Hickey knew how to get his name in the box score. So with all due respect to the incredible LeBron James, there are 11 older NBA players ahead of him, led by the incredible Hickey. And now you know. That's it. Week 11 of the 2025-26 NBA season is in the books. Join us again next week after week number 12 when we once again run it back.